I was waiting for that. All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Typically we just dive right into the approval of minutes, but we're going to actually do the roll call tonight because we have a new member joining us, and I'd love for everybody to introduce themselves as well. So really delighted that our newest member has been appointed by the council to Barbara's old alternate seat. So Esme Alapena is joining as an alternate. She's an E.O. Smith student, 16 junior, and has worked closely with some other folks on the call tonight. So Amy, of course, with Democratic Dialogues, and then obviously knows Felicia and Derek, and has been a terrific contributor to the work to advance racial equity and social justice in the schools. And we're just delighted to have you here, Esme. So thank you so much. Welcome on behalf of the Human Rights Commission. And I'll just turn it over to you if you want to say anything and introduce yourself.
Thank you for that very flattering introduction. I'm Esme. As Glenn mentioned, I'm a junior at E.O. Smith. I'm just really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to just kind of dive right in with you. So that's it.
Great. Well, welcome again. So why don't we'll go around and everybody can introduce themselves. I'll just call you out as I see you in my screen. Jane, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jane Freed. I'm a community member. I don't know who I'm representing, and I'm the vice chair. Nice to meet you.
It's Jane. Barbara?
Hi, Esme. I was your violin teacher for like a number of years. It's great to see you. I like always having one of my former students on the commission. It's really nice of you guys to do that.
We make an effort, Barbara. So Monica.
Hi, Esme. I'm the assistant town clerk here in Mansfield. I'm also the staff member for this commission, so you'll be getting a lot of emails from me. If you have any questions, please just email, call, whatever you need. We're here.
Right. Yes, and Monica is fantastic, and we can do nothing without her. Absolutely. So, Katie.
I'm Katie Bell, she, her, hers. I am the youth services supervisor for the town of Mansfield, not appointed to the board, but a interested town employee and LGBTQIA+ liaison to the town manager's office.
Yes, and another essential member of the team, unofficial part for sure of the Human Rights Commission family. So. Felicia, you just want to say hi? I know you two talk every morning on your car ride in. And Amy, I know you do too, but you can say hi too.
Hello, Esme. Nice to see you.
Great. Virginia.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lorenz. It's nice to have you with us, Esme.
Great. And Derek, you want to say hi?
Hey, Esme, I don't think I really need to introduce myself. You're probably already familiar with me. I didn't really get to see you very often, but.
Yes, and that, as you probably know, Esme, Felicia, and Derek are interning with us this year and doing amazing stuff already. So thank you both. And Heather, nice to see you. Welcome. We're doing introduction. I don't know when exactly you joined, but I think you get what's happening here.
I was just a tiny bit late. Esme, I'm Heather Evans, she, her, hers. And I have known you since you were like in kindergarten. And I hope you remember that, but you used to hang around with my old son. So it is a pleasure to see you on the commission.
Great. Well, wonderful again to have you. Welcome to the commission. Sounds like you have some former, current teachers, parents of friends But I will say you are a full-fledged member of this commission, and we're really looking forward to you contributing as an equal across all of the projects and initiatives we have. And, I know you and I chatted earlier, but I'll just say it here for everyone. It's really here, we're serving the town to advance human rights and justice in our town and more broadly. And that all of us bring our passions and our commitment to it and see opportunities to try and build connections and bridges and take on the things that are really important to us. And you should feel the same. I mean, this is your space as well. And so, really looking forward to having you on board. So thanks again. All right. So with that, roll call is complete, and we will dive right into the approval of minutes from last time around, November 10. Anybody have any edits, changes, things that were missed in those as you read them? All
Move
good?
acceptance of the minutes.
All right, we'll do it. We'll consider it accepted since I don't see anybody disagreeing. Okay, so member reports. So I'd like to throw it open to any member who has anything to report on their activities or any other announcements they want to make. Jane, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the right sheet on my screen. I attended the Wyndham, there it is, the Wyndham Interfaith Working Group yesterday, and Region Interfaith Working Group, and they are adopting and committed to resettling an Afghan family, and they're in the process of doing that, and they're sponsoring a public display called Building Bridges that is related to family diversity and Afghan resettlement. And I just put the link to the to the exhibit in the chat, so anybody who wants to take a look at it can. And the Wyndham Interfaith Group is a bunch of church people and synagogue people and occasionally a Muslim person. And they want communities of faith to adopt and post, mount this exhibit in their location. They're also very interested in getting it into a secular location. And they talked about seeing if we could get it in the community center, because it's about the details of how to help resettle people from Afghanistan. And we had talked about that, but we didn't really know exactly what you're supposed to do or how to help or anything. So I urge everybody, just click on that link, take a look at it. It's not going to start till the spring, but there is a real effort going on to resettle a couple of families in this area. And I think we can be helpful in promoting the effort and also contributing to whatever needs to be done. So I promised them I would share that with you today. So I did. And you can get the link.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Other? Yes, Katie.
So I am really excited to share with this group that the Youth Service Bureau applied for some funding back at the end of November. We had some last minute stuff come up from an old grantor that was dissolved, but still had some funds that were being overseen and cared for by one of its legacy organizations available for kind of Eastern Connecticut Quiet Corner communities that Mansfield was a part of. So we applied for grant funding for $1,500 towards a Pride celebration to take place in the town of Mansfield. And we just received the letter in the mail today that we were approved.
Good.
We are really excited for that to help kind of offset some of the costs. So now we can kind of, going into the new year, start putting together all of those ins and outs and getting the approvals and partnerships that we need to make that happen. But we're really excited about it. And then we are also getting closer and closer to the restorative justice model youth diversion program that is going to be a 3-town program. It is have memorandums of agreement kind of go to its various heads of governance at all 3 towns, and most of those have come back just about ready to sign. So we are hoping to have that up and running in the very early parts of 2022. So all very exciting things.
Absolutely. Yes. Great. Well, congratulations, Katie. That's super exciting. Obviously, we're here for as partners for Pride Month. So as you get going with your planning, please do keep us in the loop and let us know what we can do to support for sure. It seems like every year we grow in what we're able to do and how we're able to recognize that. So that's terrific. So congratulations. I know it's the result of a lot of hard work on your part. So that's good. And then, yes, good to hear about the youth diversion program. Obviously, love to stay informed on that as well. And if there are things we can do to support that, as it rolls out, I'm sure we'll want to keep an eye on how it's going and make sure that's incorporated into, our understanding of conditions in town. So that's great. All right, others. Amy, please.
So I attended the virtual National Council of Teachers of English conference. As you all know, at this point, the students made a nice presentation for the program. But as a result, not only was I able to attend some really great sessions, the theme this year was teaching social justice. But so I watched Charles Person, who is one of the freedom fighters, with my students one day, the Spanish 5 students, and I got to watch him speak. I saw Colson Whitehead, Michelle Obama, Amanda Gorman. So it was a really great experience, even if it was virtual. The Gender and Sexual Alliance from EO has an equality up at the Wadsworth Athenaeum. They wanted to do something for charity, and they also wanted to do something that was as non-denominational as possible. So while it's on a white tree, it's got all wonderful pride ornaments that the kids handmade. So that's kind of fun. That's at the Wadsworth right now. The Human Rights Club is holding a Right for Rights this week, and it's going to culminate tomorrow with letter writing in the afternoon. And then on Friday, they're having a candlelight vigil outside in honor of Human Rights Day. So they've also put up the different articles from the Declaration of Human Rights in the hallway. So they're doing some good things. And then Dee Dee's doing lots of things right now. We'll have a calendar soon.
Great, terrific. Heather, real quick, back to Amy. There was one more thing. Did you want to say about your letter to the Chronicle?
So we had talked as a commission about having someone write a letter. I had volunteered, and the letter is going to go in this Saturday. So I don't get the journal anymore, the Chronicle, but if some of you do, keep an eye out. I had to ask permission from administration to get it in, but I got permission, it's going in. So you all are mentioned in this article.
Great. So yes, we'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you for doing that, Amy, and thanks for all your work at the high school. If you can send any of the details on the timing, both for Right for Rights and the vigil, you may have sent that already, but if you could send it again, that would be great. Heather.
Things. I was asked to participate in a focus group for Mansfield Public Schools about diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. So I participated in that along with, in my focus group, there was 2 other mothers. They were asking parents of kids in the Mansfield Public Schools. So there were 2 other mothers in my group, but there were other focus group times. So I don't know who participated in those. But I appreciated the opportunity to do that and to give some feedback. I think I shared with the group, I can't remember if it was the overall group or our subcommittee, but I think I shared that I testified. Did I share that for the
hospital?
Yeah, Hartford Healthcare's certificate of need. So I did that, and then they had a story, I think it was last week on NPR on Where We Live. So it was a story based on that, on Wyndham Hospital and also Sharon Hospital and the closing and what that implications that has. So I sat in my car for the longest time at work because I wanted to call in. So I called in, and they actually, usually they cut you off, because, say what you need to say and they're going to move on. They let me speak for a long time, which I was shocked. So I felt good about that. I'm going to.
You hit your mute button.
Sorry. I'm going to put a link in case you want to listen to it. And then what is really interesting is that yesterday I was at work and my cell phone rang and I answered it, and it was an NPR producer. And she said she heard me on the show and she tracked me down. I have no idea how she got my cell phone number. And this Friday, I'm going to do the full hour with from 9 to 10 on Where We Live. It's not specific to what's happening at Wyndham Hospital. It's about the nursing workforce shortage, how COVID is affecting nursing. But of course, I've already started my talking points. I'm bringing in lots of nursing workforce things, including our lack of representation and, many different things. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I also, I told her that I would do it as long as she allowed me to have students in the discussion as well, because I wanted nursing students and their perspective, as undergraduates going into the profession new, and as nurses who are currently working and getting their advanced practice degrees. So she agreed to that. So I chose some of my students to join me in the call. So
there was a story about Wyndham Hospital and the other small community hospitals and with Andrew Tong on the news tonight.
Oh, good.
I think you have gotten their attention. And May Flexer was also on the call or on the presentation. And the big point they were making was that most hospitals in Connecticut are nonprofits, and Hartford Hospital has no right to close things because they're not profitable. So I think there's been a tremendous amount of inertia developed, and people are pushing, and Tong is paying attention. So congratulations, and please keep it up. Flexer was very articulate about how awful it is to be pregnant with no car in Wyndham right now. She was really good.
Well, and they've been interviewing this mom who is one of those moms. And she went to labor and had to take an ambulance headed for Bacchus and delivered on the side of the road in the ambulance because they couldn't get her there in time. So.
Yeah, well, I think people are paying attention, so that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that is super exciting, Heather. Congratulations, as everyone's saying in the chat. Well deserved, and a good marker of the impact that that we're hoping to have on issues of real concern for our community. So there you go, Felicia.
This Friday, December 10th, the Cultural Awareness Brigade is hosting a cultural center unveiling in our library, and there will be speakers there and candy, and students will be speaking as well as some people we've invited. It's only 45 minutes at 2:15 if you're interested.
All right, fantastic. Yes, nothing more cultural than candy. So come on down and you get some. That's very exciting. I know there's been a lot of work put into developing the new center, and it's going to be a really important space within EO. So great. Others? Anybody else have any announcements or? Okay, I'll just note quickly, and I'll forward it to the whole Human Rights Commission listserv. So we're doing a Human Rights Day event, nicely placed directly between the opening of the New Cultural Center and the candlelight vigil from 3 to 4, a Zoom conversation with Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona about the importance of human rights education and civics in our current democratic crisis. So obviously very relevant to all of our work. I'll forward that information, and it'll be great to have any of you join us for that. So, okay, well, thank you all. Sounds like we're all very busy doing great human rights things. So congratulations, one and all. So on to then our business. Old business, we have 3 items, starting with the survey update and rollout of information, which is, has been on there for a while, and it has pretty much turned into our human rights annual report, which at our last meeting, we decided to take advantage of the fact that Human Rights Day is around the corner to put together a report inclusive of the survey results, along with all the other fabulous activities that we're up to. And and in some ways it's always a moving target. It's like feels like it's out of date based on all the things you're still doing, but nevertheless I think it's an important way of documenting our work and highlight it both for the town, the council, and the larger community. So I want to recognize in particular Derek, who did a tremendous job pulling a lot of this information together and editing the document, as well as several other folks, Jane and Amy and Barbara, contributed to the drafting of different segments and different pieces, and apologies if I'm forgetting anybody who contributed as well. But you have the draft now that was sent out. I hope folks had a chance to review it. But I want to open it up for any questions, comments, concerns as we look to hopefully, even if it's not exactly completely totally finished right now, we want to have it enough that we can authorize whatever final tweaks we want to make to it, so that we can send it to the mayor, the council, to the town manager, and then to publish it hopefully on the town's website on the 10th as part of Human Rights Day. So yes, Derek, please.
I just have one thing to note. In my section, I was going to add a few examples of our efforts with regard to human rights, but I actually didn't proceed to do that because I wasn't actually able to see any of those, to actually view any of those in time to do it. So should I just eliminate the sentence referring to that, or should I add something there?
Yeah, I saw that comment in there. I mean, previously, earlier in the report, obviously that those things are documented. So you could say something like, as noted above, and that could refer to the earlier part rather than relisting them there. I think that might be fine.
Okay, fantastic.
Other thoughts, comments, questions?
Is there anyone, well, first, I hope that it's written, I hope I wrote it in a way that's scholarly enough to show its importance, but yet user friendly enough for the public. So I worked on that, but I was wondering if there's anyone who's tech savvy or whatever, who can just edit the tables. I think that probably as we were putting it around, they probably got somehow squished or condensed or whatever, and I can do it. I just am not sure I'm going to have the time in the next few days. It took a long time to do the charts and the pie graphs and everything, because the information in the Excel file wasn't in a form that we could just pour in. So I had to go in and recode everything. It was a lot. So I don't know, like I said, I can do the tables, but if anybody else wants to, like there's a table on page, oh gosh, that's the other thing, we didn't put page numbers, but there's a really great table with like a dark blue header, and then it's master's, bachelor's, associates, high school. That's really an awesome table. I don't know if the others can, be similar.
I think we could probably do that. I agree that that's one thing to clean up there is and I think it's on page 11, is the table that's the model of what we want to do, and the other ones are looks like screen grabs from the report. So I don't think those would be too hard. I can probably do that when I do planning to do one last read through when we get the everybody's input on the changes they'd like to see, but I don't think that'll be a heavy lift.
I had terrible trouble with the formatting because you typed in where I was supposed to do my parts, and then I couldn't get rid of the all caps thing that was part of that. And I am the last person in the world to do anything technical. So I tried to fix it as well as I can, but it really needs to come out in a consistent typeface and smooth. And I was not able to accomplish that. And by the way, Heather, I thought she did a great job, and it was very comprehensible and made me really want to read the whole thing, which is unusual. So it was no burden.
Yeah, no, I agree with the language. It was well done, and yes, I think that we can happy to adjust the formatting too, so it's consistent throughout. Sorry, we'll probably add a title page to this, a cover with the Town of Mansfield logo on it, a few other bells and whistles. I'll probably try and get Margaret in a little bit to lend her designer eye to helping us, at least get some basic, design pieces in there. So we'll make sure that happens. Are there any content concerns, anything people feel is missing or really needs to be addressed on that front?
As the executive summary person, I really appreciated Derek's comment that we had 67% of people who were satisfied with human rights in the town of Mansfield. I noticed the overlap with 67% of white Christian able-bodied people, and the point being made that it's nice that those people feel good, and I am delighted, but it's the other 37% or 33%, whatever it is, that we really need to be paying attention to. And I tried to throw that in without editorializing much at the end, but I think if the group is willing, I'd like to see a little more emphasis on that, because that's where the work is. The people who are happy and feel welcome and well attended and cared for are fine, and we're happy to have them, but it's all those other people we're here for. So I think we need to highlight that either here or elsewhere, because I think it's really important. And this will come up again in the letter about the winter celebration.
Yes, thank you, Jane. I think that, pulling those out, those key points out in the executive summary, even without editorializing, just presenting them as they are, as clear facts, I think is helpful in that regard.
I am overwhelmed by the complacency of the town of Mansfield. I just have to share that with all of you. This is a personal self-disclosure. It's like, if I'm happy, everything's fine. If it ain't happening to me, it ain't happening. And that is really not what we're here for. And I really get very frustrated with that, but I don't want to overwhelm anybody who might be frightened by my forthright approach. So having said that, I will now quiet.
We are grateful for your forthrightness, and would be at a severe disadvantage without your passion and commitment in making sure that 65% is definitely not enough. I don't think that's a passing grade these days, is it? If you got a 60,
well, it depends who you know.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be satisfied with that. So other questions, thoughts, concerns, additions? Okay, so it sounds like people are ready to authorize this report as it stands, pending some, minor copy editing, formatting changes. Derek, you're going to make one small tweak around that one piece.
Yeah, I actually
and-
just did that right now.
All right,
so.
well, there you go. So it's all done. So Derek, if you want to send that final version to me and to Monica, we will take care of those final pieces as long as nobody objects and submit it to the town of Mansfield. And I'll try and coordinate with Margaret to see about where and how it might be featured on the website or might be promoted through the social media accounts so that people can actually start to read it as well. Okay, anything else on this item? Great. Okay, so the next is the MLK mural project. I'll just report out, since the last time we met, which was right before the unveiling ceremony on the 13th of November. We unveiled a mural on the 13th of November. Many of you were there. Very grateful for your support. It was a beautiful day and an impressive turnout. I think Margaret estimated 150 or so people came out to unveil this mural. We have gotten some good media coverage out of it and notice, and I think it's added quite a lovely element of public art that hopefully has meaning and inspiration for folks for years to come. So we have a couple of small cleanup potential additional items that we'll be meeting with the CT Murals folks about. One is the potential for a small, what they refer to as pop-up mural, which are these little interactive public art murals that people can take a selfie by, right, interact with in some way, but that bring a little joy and surprise to small corners of Mansfield. So we'll be talking about what that might look like. And then the second thing is that part of this, they also offer an opportunity to do a workshop with the Connecticut Center for Nonviolence, a Kingian nonviolence training. And so we'll be talking about when and how we might take advantage of that. After we do, I'll bring whatever information I receive about that back to this group, and we can decide how we'd like to potentially take advantage of that. I think obviously an important component of putting the image and words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King up on your town's community center should be to carry out his legacy indeed. And certainly nonviolence is a component of that. So I think that's all I have on the murals. Any questions? Comments? Anybody want to be involved in this next step? Should I loop you in, or should I just report back? Looks like a report back situation. Okay. Next item is the holidays and public meetings. And I know Felicia was doing some work looking at this. This is this question that the town asked us to look into about providing some guidance on culturally sustaining ways of ensuring that our public meetings or other town activities accommodate as many of the celebrations, holidays, and recognized days of town members as possible. So we were going to take a look at what's out there and best practices and maybe have a calendar of some of those. Felicia, do you want to weigh in here?
Oh, I have like a spreadsheet calendar type thing. It's not organized very well because I was trying to put like dates, but a lot of them are on their own calendars. So there's a list. I can send it to should I send it to you? And then there's links at the bottom to like the calendars for each of the religions, because a lot of them use lunar calendars or like their own religious calendars. So someone can look at that.
Great. Well, do you want to maybe share your screen now and we can look at it together as a group? I don't know if Monica can give you permissions.
Let's see where this is. I have so many tabs open. All right.
Are you able to share your screen?
Can I make a comment while they're figuring that out? Why is the town promoting any religious events?
Barbara, it's not promoting the events. It's so like, say we don't schedule a committee meeting on
Oh, I
Yom Kippur,
understand.
right? So
Okay,
it's
I
about
see.
that sensitivity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought of a way to get around those many calendars, Felicia. If you just listed in the, the general neighborhood of this is usually in March, this is usually in May, and then put a note at the bottom saying, because of the different calendars, these appear on different dates every year and should be referenced to the current calendar of each year. You wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
Great.
Can everyone see my screen?
We can, yes.
All right. So that's kind of what I did. So the dates that are consistent every year have the actual dates. And then the rest are like usually in March or April, usually in February, March. And there's the religion on the third row. And then Islamic and Jewish holidays are have an asterisk, and then occasions with the perceptive of a particular tradition and the practice of nearly all of its adherents could possibly include restrictions. So whether that be like fasting or
Really good
celebrations, and then the Baha'i ones are just specific to that, again, like the Jewish and Islamic. And then I linked the calendar for upcoming years, so it's easy to keep track in all the places. So like this is, yeah.
I really like this. I'm just telling you.
Thank you.
Me too. Nice job, Felicia.
Nice job.
Agree. Yeah, no, this is super, super helpful.
I don't know.
So I guess, go ahead.
Felicia and Derek, I mean, they're like putting the rest of us to shame a little bit. Their work is so good.
Are you getting credit for this or something? I hope. Exploited as a
The
member
eternal
of
gratitude of the Mansfield Human Rights Commission, I have to imagine, is payment enough. No.
If they ask
No,
for,
it's
if they
not
ask
payment
for,
enough. That is exploitation of the working class.
no,
We
if
need
they,
to
if
pay
they're
attention.
I'll be writing them some really, really, really strong college recommendations, Jane.
Yeah,
You're
yes,
the
absolutely.
first person I'm
I
asking. for
volunteer.
something.
I don't see Passover on here. Is Passover on?
Screwed something up. Where did? Oh shoot!
Undo.
Happening. Undo. Sorry, it's hard to see on my own screen what is happening.
Yes.
Where is it? It
Oh,
was.
there it is. You've got it.
Oh,
You got
God,
it.
it was there.
No, it's there. I just saw
I
it.
screwed something up though.
Yeah, if you want to take us off share and figure out what's going on, you can do that. I know it can be awkward. But that looks like a great, super helpful document. and I think definitely do share it with all of us. I think what we would want to do ideally then also as a commission is maybe write a brief kind of guide or recommendation of, here we're providing you with a basic calendar. Our recommendation is to endeavor as far as possible to avoid the scheduling of town meetings or other public recognitions in ways that conflict with these. If it cannot be avoided, then you make an extra effort to reach out to those affected to ensure they have alternative ways of participating or recognizing or something along those lines. Does that sound like what we'd like to do with this? Again, it's kind of responsive to a request from the rest of the town. And do we have a volunteer of someone who is sufficiently shamed by Felicia and Derek's productivity to say, I'm going to step up and do this and write that framing introductory paragraph or two of how folks might use this?
I can do it.
All right.
You just said you were too busy to do anything, Heather. How can you do it?
Heather, no.
Exactly.
Do you want to do? You want to look at it too, Heather? No, I'll work with Felicia. I'll work with Felicia then, so that's fine.
Great. I
Thank you.
appreciate that, Amy. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you, Felicia. This is excellent, and will have an impact. I think we'll start to see the town attend to this a bit more. Any other input, questions, thoughts on this item? Okay. All right, so moving on to new business. The first item is to approve our meeting calendar for next year. And Monica.
So this is something that we have to do every December. We need to do this tonight just in order for me to have it noticed properly, and then we can have our regular meetings. Otherwise, all meetings must be special meetings, and we don't want that. So this is just based on what we currently have. So I think we're the second Wednesday of the month. If we want to change it, it's fine. I just need to know by tonight.
Okay.
I also did not take into account any holidays. I just went straight down.
Yep. So why don't we just go through everyone right now, open up your, you can see on our packet on page 7, Monica has very helpfully listed what those second Wednesdays of the month are. So let's go through quickly your own personal calendar, and maybe Felicia, you can look to see if you're seeing any conflicts with any of the holidays you have identified.
Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the meeting in January, February, and May.
Are you going somewhere fabulous again?
I'm going somewhere fabulous in February and May. And January, I have an orchestra rehearsal that night. I may have some other rehearsals that I don't have on my calendar, but.
Okay. You're being fabulous on those occasions, so okay.
we can only hope.
Yeah.
You're kind of killing me a little bit here, because open my personal calendar and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even think of what I'm doing like tomorrow or 5 minutes from now. I think it's going to be great for me, but I don't know. I can't think that far ahead, but I mean, in general, thinking about my schedule for the semester, next semester, Wednesday evenings is great.
I think we just need to go with Wednesday evenings generically, and then if we need to compensate, we will, because it's impossible to know what else is going to be going on at that time, and we have to make a commitment now.
Yes, that's true. But as long, I just wanted to make sure there weren't any glaring issues either with this standard or any particular date. I am noticing that October 12th date is Sukkot, the third night of Sukkot, which is
That doesn't matter.
not a major Jewish holiday as far as I am aware, but
Not the
I just
third
want to
night.
confirm that yeah, the third night is not a major. Okay, so so then in that case, it looks like we're good to approve this. Yes from all.
Yes.
All right. All done, folks. We have fulfilled the only thing we always have to do in our December meeting. So well done. Okay. Thank you for getting that on there, Monica, and impressing upon us the importance of setting those. So, and again, it doesn't mean we can't change particular dates when things come up or there's issues or right. Special meetings are always possible, but it is very helpful for us individually to be able to plan. And then it's very helpful for the town to be in compliance with the law. So, okay. Next item is the winter welcome letter. This one's yours, Jane. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I don't see it.
It is on page 6 of the packet.
Oh, I see it. Okay, there it is. And FYI, I was again listening to NPR tonight, and I found out something. I focused this thing on please don't make it a tree. But what I heard on NPR was that civilizations from time immemorial that live in the northern snowy zones always celebrate with greenery at the solstice because it's still green and that's a miracle. So that means you could have all kinds of things like hanging boughs and wreaths and, you know, and palm trees and God knows what else. But it's the issue here was the Christmas tree, which that tree has been associated with Christmas for about 400 years, according to NPR. And I have been informed that not only Jewish people have trouble with it, but Muslim people are even afraid of it. And so that's why we wrote this letter, and I just need you to approve of it. And then if the council endorses it, we as a council will send it to the head of the downtown partnership.
So, and just to provide some additional background, this came out of a conversation in the communications and outreach subcommittee. You know, as we looked at the time, it was before the winter welcome, which is obviously passed. And Jane, as well as Karen, who's not here, right, expressed their concerns about the way in which this centers Christianity and the Christian experience. And so we felt it was an opportunity for us to engage them in conversation about thinking about how to have an inclusive winter welcome and to do so in a way that, that again, and going back to our efforts to become a welcoming place to resettle Afghan refugees, you know, is one that kind of reflects everybody's experience. So, so happy to have questions, thoughts, input, anything.
It looks really good. I think it's a good letter. It we offer our help to reconfigure the holiday in a way that's more inclusive. I think everything's there that needs to be there.
Good. Yeah, it didn't need to be long.
No.
No, I agree. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
procedural question. So I'm going to address it to the head of the downtown council, and then how do I forward this? Do I do an email and say this was endorsed by the Human Rights Commission, or do I send it to Monica and she sends it on town stationery? How do we do this? Or town email with logo?
You know, I guess it depends on the way we want it to go through the channels. I think probably sending it to the town manager's office first would be the way I would go about it and say, you know, based on this is a concern that we've had as the Human Rights Commission. And then potentially saying, you know, we'd like this to be included in the town council packet. You can send it just to the downtown partnership. I think that it depends on how you want it to be presented. Katie, I don't know, do you have any ideas as to how we?
So my thinking is the downtown partnership is a separate entity from the town of Mansfield. So they are their own separate organization. So if we, as the Human Rights Commission, wanted to petition the downtown partnership just as the Human Rights Commission, I think we might have to get that rubber stamp from kind of the town manager's office. But if we, as the Human Rights Commission, wanted to make a recommendation to town council, that town council make the recommendation to the downtown partnership, and that might hold a little bit more weight, then it would, I think, have to be something that goes to the town council as opposed to necessarily just the town manager's office, I think is how those things would intersect.
My personal preference would be to have us send it to the downtown partnership because this is our initiative. And maybe Carbon, you know, get permission or an endorsement from the town council. This isn't the sort of thing the town council would normally do.
Right.
But it is the sort of thing we would normally do.
Right.
And there's also go ahead.
I think at least letting Ryan's office know and seeing,
Yeah.
like having it go through the powers that be at least before we send it out as us is probably the best way to maneuver that.
That
And
sounds
you
fine to
know,
me.
there may be some value in, you know, not hoisting the flag too high publicly at this point to do right. It'd be good to let Ryan know that we're making this. But Jane, if you sent this as an email to Cynthia and said the Mountsfield Commission has concerns, we'd like to talk to you about these, you know, to try and get them on side rather than, you know, kind of publicly pull them over the coals. We can always go public if there's like resistance and concerns and say,
We've got
well,
11 and a half months. I don't think we need to do that.
right.
But
So
I
a
would be
start
very
might
happy
be,
to say, we'd be happy to have a meeting with you and please let us know at your earliest convenience what time would work.
right.
then
And
we'll do
I
it.
mean, I would send them this too, right? To kind of be forthright about what our concerns are, but an email, and technically it's all public, right? It's in our packet for gosh sakes.
Right.
So somebody could go in and look at it, but you know, there are different degrees of public, right? If we get the town council to like get eyes on this and, you know, letterhead and all of that, it ups the sense of being, you know, on a stage. And I think at least my sense at this point is let's try let's work together and, you know, we can make this a really great thing all the way around instead of, you know, you did a bad thing and I want people to know you did a bad
No,
thing.
I agree with you completely. But that brings up another question because I am an administrator in my heart, even though I was a professor as well. And I need letterhead logos to make things look like I'm not just writing a letter because I feel like it. So what is the appropriate way to do that? Because I was wondering if we have a logo or what do I do with that?
We do have a little
We have a thing.
Human Rights Commission banner from the
Yeah.
website, but you know, if you're sending an email, there's not really a logo to go on that.
But I could put the banner on the bottom.
You could drop that in as a JPEG, but I would sign it, you know, Jane Freed on behalf of the Human Rights Commission,
Okay.
right? And to make sure they know it's not just you as an individual or even you as a single commissioner, but we as the commission are asking you to do this outreach and to start this conversation. I'm
Sure.
happy to, you know, be a part of that
I
too.
like
as
that. I like that.
so, and I think this communication makes a lot of sense as opening that pathway to the conversation.
Okay.
Amy?
So as we're discussing this, I just wanted to make sure, so the letter that's going into the Chronicle, I submitted as myself. Then they asked if, they told me they would only print it as it was if I was allowed to put that I was a teacher at EO, so that's where I got that permission, and that I'm a member of the Human Rights Commission. Now, when
No,
I said, sure, that's okay, I did get permission from the principal, but is everything else okay? Okay.
Yeah,
just wanted to make
as far as
sure.
I understand, right, you are simply accurately describing yourself as a member of the Mansfield
Right,
Human
yeah,
Rights
I
Commission.
didn't,
So
okay.
that is your description to use with as you wish.
Thank you.
Right, so
And
you
I'm
just
gonna
can't
put
add
the-
that bit about on behalf of the
Right, no, I didn't do that.
commission.
And then I put the link, I'm gonna put the link in the chat now if people are curious.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else thoughts on this? So the plan is, Jane, you're gonna send this to Monica to share with Ryan, so he knows that that we're making this communication, and
Mhm.
then you're gonna reach out to
Yeah, I'll do that first.
Cynthia Van
Yep.
Zelm.
Mhm.
With this, you can again pop in that Human Rights Commission banner, but then also note that you're writing on all of our behalf, and that we would like to engage you with them collectively. So
Mhm. Good, I'll do that.
great, and thank you for taking this on.
No
That was,
problem.
that was a very good conversation that we had in the outreach committee, and this is a good opportunity again. All right, where are we? We are back up to the top of this. On to and this is also you and Monica actually. So Jane, do you want to start about the grant?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm trying to get my agenda up here again. I don't know, I lost it. Okay. I have put in a proposal to the Pajo Foundation, I believe is the name of it, and it was written by Anthony Hobson, who knows how to write grants, and then I wound up being the contact person, but I'm no expert at this. So we put in a proposal to them asking for $5,000 to support this public presentation of all kinds of different people who live in Mansfield, and I was calling it Getting to Know Your Neighbors. I subsequently think I'm going to call it Voices of Mansfield, if that's what everybody is willing, and we need some kind of subtext and a little tagline, and I need to talk to Margaret about that. So we asked for $5,000 because after having a conversation with Katie, I have a $2,000 speaker to open up, whose name is Debbie Irving, who wrote the book Growing Up White or something to that effect, and she's wonderful. And then we have 3 other facilitators, and Katie informed me that when you ask a member of a group that's being discussed to facilitate a discussion, it's exploitation if you don't pay them for their professional work and make more suffering in their already slightly suffering lives. So I asked for more money. So I total that I asked for, I have 3 facilitators, and I think they're all going to be excellent. And I'm going to pay them some amount of money for doing that. And I suspect that 2 of the 3 of them won't be able to accept it because of their professional roles, but they'll donate it to something. So I am in process of putting that all together. I am still scared to death. The only commitment I have is Debbie Irving on June 19th. And she's ready to go. And then I need the other 3 groups and panels and members of dialogue to talk about. And one of the dialogues is about faith communities, one is about families and raising families in Mansfield, and one is about living with disabilities in Mansfield. And the man who's going to do the disabilities one is Hollis Cotton, who helped write the Americans with Disabilities Act. He is an attorney with a significant mobility impairment, and he's apparently very much an expert in this. So I've got 4 programs lined up and no money, because I wrote a note to the foundation and said, hi, can you please tell me when your decision-making schedule is? And they basically said, no. So we can't tell you, we're not even finished reading things. So I have no idea how much the competition is. or when I will get a decision, but I have to commit to Debbie Irving in the next couple of days, or she's going to want somebody else to take our time slot. So I don't know what to do about that, and any advice is more than welcome at this point. That's where we are. I'm going ahead through a fog, trying to understand what's happening because I have no idea, but I think it's going to be okay. And every time I tell people about it, I talked to the interfaith group the other day. They thought it was just a great idea. So I think we're going to have some good conversations once we get all the people involved and get the whole thing set up. But we are at the moment have no money. The end.
Right. Thank you,
Advice?
Jane. Thank you for your work on this. Well, we can come back and talk a little bit on the question of what to do between the gap between the decision on the grant and your need to solidify with your speaker.
Right.
But before that, I just want to let Monica say a few words. So, you took a lot of great initiative, Jane, and putting this together.
Knowing
and
what I
seeking
was
these funds
doing.
was
Make that
really
perfectly clear.
and I too, not knowing what I was doing, we kind of stumbled into territory where we should have been much earlier having the town involved, because if the grant is successful, then it actually comes to the town. None of us get anything. It goes to the town and they have to manage the grant. And so, Sarah Ann and Monica heroically stepped in very late during Thanksgiving week to make sure this thing was able to get over the line and submitted. But Monica, do you want to give us a little kind of peek at some of the lessons learned in this as others may be thinking about applying for grants that may support projects in the future?
Sure. So I guess the biggest thing that we learned is that like Glenn said, the town needs to get involved pretty early. We do need council approval before we submit anything, which is one of the biggest things for us. So this one we got a little bit backwards, but it's going to be great, I think. We're actually going to council on Monday for approval. So fingers crossed, I think it'll be great. Both Jane and Glenn will be invited to speak, so that'll be good too. But we do, next time anyone wants to apply for a grant, just please include me on the emails so I can get us on a council agenda as soon as possible for us to be able to apply for the money, because as Glenn also said, the town is the one responsible for those funds. So.
And I think now that Monica and Sarah was wonderful, she just said, there's something wrong here, we need to fix it. And we have 2 hours.
She's great.
She did it.
She's amazing.
Did it. But in the future, I don't think it's a complex process, and it's pretty clear now. We've learned how to do it. So I think probably I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Awesome. That's great.
Good. Yes. So yet another lesson, ask Monica things early and often when you have questions. Know how often I need to learn that. So thank you again. So back to this question about what to do. I don't know. Is there $2,000 laying around somewhere that you're just looking for something to do with?
That's
Probably
less
not,
than
huh?
my town taxes that are due at the end of the month, and I'm sure I'm not going to put my money into it personally because that's probably a bad idea. So
No,
I have no idea.
It is definitely a bad idea. I think, unfortunately, this is the challenge of the timing. So, you may be able to explain to her where we're at and get her tentative commitment, and just be understanding that if she needs to book elsewhere, maybe we move her a little later in the cycle, right? And move some of the other folks up in their schedule if other folks are a little more flexible, and just push it back, because I don't know that there is any one of us with either the capacity or really it's not our role to take that risk on guaranteeing that money. So I mean, that would be my recommendation, and I don't know if anybody has any other suggestions in this case.
The town doesn't have a slush fund like a bridge loan or anything like that. No, huh? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to talk to her representative tomorrow and explain the situation, but it was very clear to me from the answer that I got from the foundation person. It's the Prue Law Firm that my further inquiries were not welcome. So I'm not pushing anybody. I just have to wait until they decide.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully you'll be as successful as Katie was. And we'll have, funds coming at us every which way to support great human rights work. So other thoughts, questions on where this project is at?
Jane, I think it's fantastic. As Jane knows, Katie and I are meeting with Jane next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And also, Jane, I just want to let you know that with the grant writing process, it's different everywhere. When I was in region 8, I could just apply for grants willy-nilly and it didn't matter. And then I learned the hard way too at E.O. Smith that you had to ask before you applied for the grant. So
thank you.
Much
Yeah,
like you had to do scrambling. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I was fortunate to get quite a few even in region 8. And then at EO, I thought, oh, sure. And we were scrambling too to do the same thing that you ended up doing in a couple hours. So, but thank you so much. It's very exciting. And I know that Katie and I are looking forward to working with you and talking on Monday, and then we'll report back to this group.
Yeah, and I think, I've got these 3 programs lined up and people are very interested, but I also want to have a conversation about being a farmer in Mansfield. And I talked to one of the Stearns family members yesterday, and she was real excited about it. She thought that would be a great idea. So I think if we get the format set up, it's not going to be that hard to make it like an intermittent presentation when we have interest, and just see where it goes. And it could really provoke dialogue. So I'm very excited about that part. Yeah,
And
go ahead.
Great, Katie. Yeah.
you are interested and everything lines up and wanting to create what it's like to be a farmer in Mansfield, connect with the Human Services Department, because they also went through a process of applying for grant funding for their Farms to Families program, which
really? Okay.
local farm produce to members of the community through kind of needs-based assessment and things like that. So that's actually been a really cool new program that the Human Services Department started, I think, like in the middle of COVID. They sought some outside funding. I don't remember if they've gotten it or not. I actually missed the Human Rights Advisory or the Human Services Advisory Board meeting this afternoon because I had double booked myself. But they could be a nice connection to kind of have not just what it's like to be a farmer, but also here's kind of the role that they're supporting the community, and the community is benefiting from the local produce.
I think we can do a whole bunch of public service things to inform people, because Jim Mercurio, who's the pastor of the Methodist Church on 195, just put it perfectly. He said, we have loads of different kinds of people in this town and none of them talk to each other. They belong to different churches. They only attend to their children in their schools. And if anything we can do to let people know who's here and have them talk to each other would be a good thing. And once we get going, it shouldn't be that difficult, but getting going is the scary part. So thank you. I will follow up on that.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Amy and Katie and everyone for their support here. Keep us posted. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, well, that is it for our new business as well. We are moving along at quite a clip. Under communications, we did include in the packet. So Katie did reach out to Leslie at the library about Human Rights Day to encourage them to think about, a way of recognizing, and Leslie and her team put together a great display of some fabulous human rights books on the theme of all human, all equal. And so hopefully if you get a chance, you can head down to the library. And if not, there's a list of them there for us. So that is a great new resource. Yeah, Heather.
In the chat, I posted a link to the book list that I included last year on Human Rights Day. And that was like one of the first things that I did as part of the commission. I reached out to the library, our library, and to the school librarians with this list and asking them to make sure that they're available. The school librarian was all on board and said, oh my gosh, we've got most of those books. The other ones we're going to order right away. And same with Southeast Elementary School. I didn't hear back from Goodwin or Vinton at the time, and the middle school, some of the books are too young for the middle school, but there are plenty on there that would be appropriate. They were sort of non-committal, but anyway, I really enjoyed the lists that was put together, not by me. I mean, you'll see in the link. I don't know, I think it's a kind of a neat with some really good books. So I thought I would include it again in case anybody wanted it. If you've got kids or no kids or whatever.
Great, thank you for sharing that again. I remember that as well as one of the first things that you did on behalf of the commission. So thanks for that. Okay, any other thoughts or pieces on the communications? We have no one here for public comment. So we're, I think, at the point where we're doing any reports from either of the subcommittees. The Town Charge Committee has largely been working on this, on the human rights report, annual report, which we already discussed. So I don't think there's anything else to add there, unless anybody from that subcommittee recalls anything else we were needing to report out on.
I think, last
Yeah, I think that's right. So, okay, and then communications. We talked about the new letter and Jane's work on the grant-funded project, which are the main things there. Is there anything else?
That's what we're doing.
All right.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask one really quick question.
Please.
So in terms of the report, like you said, our idea was to roll that out for Human Rights Day. What is that going to look like?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because so I'm going to try and connect with Margaret tomorrow. And we were going to complete the formatting, try and get it in a shape that we're happy with. And then I'll find out from her how we can feature it on the town website, if it can be through the town social media accounts to highlight. We'll be sending it to the town manager and to the town council. So it probably won't make it on the agenda for Monday because we're pretty close to the cutoff there, but they'll have it for the next time and they'll be aware of it. So if there are other ideas for how we can highlight it, happy to consider those. I mean, you'll all have a copy, so you should feel free to use it in your own communications for the day. It's hard to wave around on the radio, Heather, otherwise I'd say you could do that on your where we live spot.
But I think that Susan, what is Susan's last name? The representative from Wyndham has a morning show. Is that the Where We Live show?
Susan.
Is it
Johnson?
Johnson?
Yeah.
She has a morning show and she interviews all kinds of people for all kinds of things. Maybe she could interview somebody about that report.
Perhaps.
That's
I mean, again, we're 2 days away, so I know we're kind of limited in the, but yeah, if anybody has ideas, we are now, again, at the point where we've all agreed to it. So it is yours to use in whichever promotional avenues are available to you. Obviously, Human Rights Day is a great kind of release date, but it shouldn't stop there. And I think we should think about how we want to use it for promotional and for discussion.
Do you think we'll still be able to get it out by Monday?
Yeah, I think by Friday we'll have it.
Oh, good. Okay.
in a form. It's not far. We're Yeah,
Good.
I think
Okay.
so.
That was my concern, is that,
Okay.
the clock was ticking.
Yes, yes. It always does. I always think, Human Rights Day, it's so far off. And then I'm like, anyway. Yes, well, I'll let you know. I'll try and connect with Margaret, like I said, tomorrow. And if there's any issues in having it ready for folks to see, then we'll let you know.
You may
Okay.
be of interest to know that EO plans on doing a school climate survey. So Heather, as a parent, you should be looking for that soon. And students, you also will be surveyed. So just keep your eye on it. It'll be interesting, I think, to see if we actually are able to know what the results are of that survey. And then secondly, if so, how does it go along with the findings that we have in the small survey that we've done? So yeah. So I will keep everybody posted about what I learned from that event.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we did know that was coming eventually. And so nice to hear that it's coming still. All right. Well, before we close, Esme, any questions? I know you had a lot coming at you tonight, jumping in midstream and lots of different conversations can be overwhelming, but just give you a chance if you've got anything you want to add or.
No, this was great. I was just wondering if now would be a time for me to join a subcommittee. I know we had talked about.
Sure. Yeah. No, you don't have to right this second, but if there's already one in your mind that you're like, that's the one, then let us know.
I've kind of already decided.
Okay.
If I could join like the communications and outreach one, that would be great.
We'd love to have you.
Perfect. Sounds really
interesting. Your town charge is all disappointed, but we'll get over it, and hopefully one day you'll be on that team too. But yes, no, that's great, Esme. So Monica, if you can add her to that distribution list, we're all good. So
I did want to ask, actually, did you are you receiving the HRC full commission emails? You were supposed to be added. Fingers crossed it got done. They told me it did.
Yes.
So did
all
you
the emails that were sent yesterday, I got all of those, if that's
good?
Yeah.
Okay, and the link to the meeting, you got that through Outlook, not through the one today.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. That's good.
Good. All right. Yes. Well, when the email works, then you're an official member. So that's good to know, Esme. All right. Well, with that, then I think we can probably bring things to a close. It looks like James wants to throw one more thing into the mix here. We're gonna have to save that.
That was just privately for you.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll bring that forward. But I appreciate seeing everybody. This is our last full meeting of the year. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you all for the incredible work you're doing for our community, for our town. You're all volunteers and you're all incredibly busy, which seems to be the way, right? People who step up to do things are the people who step up to do everything. And so I'm appreciative that this is one of the things that you stepped up to do. So thank you for that. We'll see you at different things on Friday. And I hope if I don't see you after that, you all have a wonderful new year.
Thank you. You too. And your leadership is really pretty incredible. So it's nice to be on the committee with everyone and under your leadership.
Yes, thank you. And Jane too, for when you've stepped up to do the same. So thanks everyone.
Okay. Take care. Bye.